brings forth many images. The glistening beaches of Waikiki, guarded by the stony sentinel of Diamond Head. The lush beauty of a tropical paradise, glowing in glorious contrast to the harsh volcanic origins of the islands. And wherever surrounded by the majestic power of the ocean, there are daring individuals who will confront it. For to totally tame the waves is a desire as old as the sea itself. One special breed takes this challenge at speed, finding a razor's edge of control in the fiercest machines on the water. ESPN presents the RC Cola 1993 Unlimited Hydroplane Series. The final stop on the tour, the Outrigger Hotel's Hydrofest. Sponsored by RC Cola. Race to the taste of an RC Cola. Me and my RC. O'Doul's. It's what beer drinkers drink when they're not drinking beer. And by Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that smooth taste. Proud to be your bud. It's Thunderboat action we bring you today from the historic waters of Pearl Harbor on the beautiful island of Oahu near Honolulu, Hawaii. Aloha, everyone. I'm Steve Evans under some rare cloudy skies, but I think the sun will be back in the island soon. Now, today's Outrigger Hotel Hydrofest 93 is the final race on the RC Cola Unlimited Hydroplane Tour. And as you may know, Chip Hanauer and the Miss Budweiser boat owned by Bernie Little has already clinched the O'Doul High Point World Championship. But Jim Hendricks, that doesn't mean there's any lack of enthusiasm here. There's a heck of a race for second place, important to two teams.
There is, and that, of course, is Mark Tate and the Winston Eagle. They've gone fast all year. They haven't had any luck. They're looking for their first win of the year, and they have a 461-point lead for that second place spot over the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes with Mike Hansen, the driver, and that boat's supported by the entire 13,000 people in the community on the Ohio River of Madison. As Steve told you, it is a shoe-in for the Budweiser. They have won the World Championship. And down in the pits with them right now is Steve Montgomery.
When Chip Hanauer qualified this boat, the Miss Budweiser, at 169 miles per hour, he very nearly ran our fastest lap of the year. The only lap faster was Mark Tate and the Winston Eagle in Detroit at 170 miles per hour. The reason for the speed is the ideal shape of the race course at 2.5 miles with 1,600-foot turns and the buoyancy of the saltwater. Don't be surprised, Jim, if we see records broken here throughout the day. Back to you.
We saw records, of course, broken in qualifying. A course record in 169.297 as the Miss Budweiser with Chip Hanauer wins the Winston Select Lap Award for this event. Of course, the top 3-point getters throughout the whole year always look for the big O'Doul Shootout with top money. The 3 winners this year, Miss Budweiser, Winston Eagle, and Kellogg's, and that's the way they stand in national high points going into today's event. And for the play-by-play call of yesterday's event, here's Dick Crippen.
Thank you very much, Jim. And as two boats come down to the line, we learned that the Winston Eagle was unable to take the start. So it's going to be the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes on the outside and the Miss Budweiser on the inside. It's going to be Budweiser with the advantage going into the turn. Chip Hanauer powering on. And there inside the cockpit, you can see those buoys as they fly by to his left. Chip Hanauer doing a great job holding it in there. It's always tough on the inside boat. He can't veer out and cut off the other boat unless there's at least 5 boat lengths between them. And obviously at this point there is nowhere near 5 boat lengths between these two. Kellogg's Frosted Flakes on the outside doing a great job at driving. Mike Hansen being sucked up just a little bit on the back stretch by the Miss Budweiser as again Chip Hanauer powers on, and we take a look at that boat going through the turn. A great job of driving for the Miss Budweiser. Chip Hanauer, Bernie Little out of Lakeland, Florida, owner of that boat.
And, of course, the Budweiser with a good lead now. This is only a 3-lap sprint, and the first lap speed, 164.567.
Great aerial shot from our South Seas helicopter as we look down on the Hawaiian waters, and it is the Miss Budweiser churning him up to advantage this time. Miss Budweiser still in the lead. Chip Hanauer checking the rear view mirror to his left, making sure that he's got plenty of room on the buoys, and then he checks off to the right to make sure that he's got the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes where he wants them off his hip. Miss Budweiser, Chip Hanauer, out of the Seattle, Washington area, doing a great job at driving. This is the O'Doul's Shootout. The 3 top boats were invited, the top point getters over the year. The only boat not answering the call was the Winston Eagle.
And I'm sure that Steve Woomer and that team is hoping that this is not a prediction of things to come today with that tight race for second place in the High Point Championship run.
No question about first place in this race. There's the checkered flag out for the Miss Budweiser, Chip Hanauer, out of Seattle, Washington, driving the boat owned by Bernie Little of Lakeland, Florida. And he takes the win. Here's the O'Doul's Shootout finish. Miss Budweiser first, Kellogg's Frosted Flakes second. Winston Eagle did not start. Let's go to Jim in the pits.
Down here at the Budweiser camp, the winner of the O'Doul's Shootout, Chip Hanauer. Chip, looks like you were traveling a little fast for a shootout.
Well, these mean a lot to us. You know, there's a lot of money at stake, and there's also bragging rights. And, you know, a race is a race. Everybody on this beach is a racer, and if you put them in anything for a quarter, it'd be a boat race. So every time we put the Budweiser in the water, it's to win.
Bernie, you have, of course, sewed up the O'Doul's High Point Championship with Chip here and your boat and your crew, and they've done a fine job. What's the run for here in Hawaii?
Well, I think Chip just said it all. You know, first off, it's pride, and pride in our crew and our driver and what we've accomplished all year long. And then to come to the O'Doul's Shootout, we have to win that because, you know, that's in the family. Where are you going to get anything better than O'Doul's?
We're getting ready for more action as the boats are heading out on the course for our first heat of the day. We'll be back in a moment.
Back here at Honolulu, Hawaii, getting set for Heat 1A. Look at the rain. It's starting to come in off the mountains, and we're all set to go in the Lane 1. It'll be Spirit of Hawaii with rookie Ken Dryden at the wheel. The T-Plus with Steve David will slot lane number 2. In lane 3, Mike Hansen and the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. Lane 4, the other rookie in the field, Mike Egret in Oh Boy, Oh Birdo. On the outside in lane 5, Mark Evans in the American Spirit. We're all set to go, and here's the play-by-play call. Dick Crippen, get him to the line.
Thank you very much, Jim. As we look, we see 5 boats coming down. The Spirit of Hawaii trailing back in the mist there, the mist of the Rooster Tails. Lane number 2, your lead boat is the Miss T-Plus, Stephen David, out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He's being challenged on the outside by the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. We saw that the Kellogg's very strong in the O'Doul's Shootout, now challenging for the lead against the T-Plus. A great shot inside from our onboard camera of the T-Plus and what Stephen David sees.
Well, in addition to the rain on his canopy, Steve David sees the Kellogg's boat take the lead here at Heat 1A. That is not good news for Steve Woomer and the Winston Eagle crew. They don't want that boat to make any points.
The boat on the inside with the advantage on the turns as they come up on the turn. If Steve David is going to make a move on the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, he's going to have to do it now. But you can see he closed it down just a little bit. But the boat on the outside, Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, was able to hold his speed, and he's going to slingshot him on the front straight.
Remember, this is a 3-lap sprint, and at the end of lap number 1, it's Kellogg's the leader at an average speed of 152.784.
Great job of driving by Mike Hansen of Madison, Indiana, in the boat owned by some 13,000 citizens of Madison, Indiana, now in the lead, and you can see that boat in the center of your screen. That's the Rooster Tail ahead of the T-Plus from the onboard camera. There outside is Stephen David, and he's really fighting hard. The boat's holding well on the water, but he just can't get the straightaway speed to catch the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. And it's getting a little bit misty here in Hawaii.
And that's the first time in the 4-year history of the Outrigger Hydrofest we've had this type of water. We're going to have a battle now for 3rd place. Coming on strong on the inside, the rookie Mike Egret and Oh Boy, Oh Birdo getting inside of the American Spirit, driven by Mark Evans.
Mark Evans trying to hold him off, but it looks like Egret's going to go by on the inside. Mike Egret in the Oh Boy, Oh Birdo taking over 3rd place, but can he hold it? On the outside, Mark Evans in the American Spirit has tied him up again as they come out of the finish of the turn. It's going to be an even Steven battle for 3rd place. No question about the leader. The leader is the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. To give you an idea of how far ahead he is, let's go inside the T-Plus and look off to the left side of your screen, and you can see that Rooster Tail far in the distance. Mike Hansen and the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, winner in San Diego, trying to keep that momentum going here today in Hawaii.
And the boat that was running 3rd, Oh Boy, Oberto, Mike Egret, it is now Obreco, will DNF. But how about that Kellogg's boat? Mike Hansen doing everything that's asked of him to try to overtake the Winston Eagle for 2nd in the points.
And as the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes comes out of the final turn, he looks up to the starting tower and he sees the checkered flag. the winner of the race, Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. He won in San Diego. He wins the first race here in Hawaii today. A great moment for Mike Hansen. Second place off to Steve David in the T+. So here's your finish. First place is the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, followed by Miss T+, then the American Spirit in third, Spirit of Hawaii in fourth. Oh boy, Alberto did not finish.
Down here with Mike Hansen. Now, Mike, there's points for qualifying, so you lost some ground in qualifying the last couple of days. But with this 400 points here, you're darn near within 100 points of striking distance of second place.
Yeah, Winston's started this race 500 points ahead. You're correct there. We got to try to catch him somehow. It's going to be hard to do it on a race course, especially when you don't even draw them. So hopefully they'll run into some mishaps and give us a break as long as we run consistent and end up getting first place as the Kellogg's just did. It'll be great for us.
As Chip Hanauer gets ready for Heat 1B, let's go to Steve Montgomery with second place.
Steve David in the Miss T+, a good start, but Mike Hansen ran away from you. What happened?
Yeah, Frosted Flakes was running great. He had him in the first turn, and he just really took off out of there, so we got some work to do to get ready for the next set of heats.
You're going to have to go faster?
Yeah, the T+ has to. We only average, I think, 147, and we need to be in the high 150s to win this thing, but as you know, the T+ kind of gets progressively better at the end of the day and blows them all away.
As we look at the Arizona Memorial, a big attraction for all the tourists that come to Hawaii, let's get down to Steve Evans.
Anytime the Unlimiteds race in saltwater, i.e. Miami, San Diego, here in Honolulu, a lot of the teams extend the air intake clear out over the cockpit. They're trying to avoid getting salt water into the intake. Unlike fresh water that just turns to steam, well, the salt remains behind and fuses to the turbine blades and causes big problems called compressor stall. Well, the Winston Eagle boat, they've taken a different tack, and I call it the trap door. Mark Tate in the cockpit, when he gets out on the course and he's ready to get the boat up on plane, he pushes a button. There's an air cylinder and an air bottle down here that slams this open for full power. When they're just idling around, well, it gets enough through the back to help the engine run. Now, a problem with this, the Tide boat also has this same situation. In San Diego, he pushed the button and it didn't open.
The Tide boat and Winston Eagle heading the field as Heat 1B will be underway momentarily from the RC Cola Unlimited Hydroplane Series in Honolulu, Hawaii. We'll continue in a moment.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Outrigger Hotel's Hydrofest here in Pearl Harbor. Lots of activities and opportunities for race fans, including a chance to tour a Navy battleship. But right now, it's time for the start of Heat 1B. Jim Hendricks set the field.
All right, it's Miss Budweiser in lane 1 with Chip Hanauer. In lane number 2, it'll be Winston Eagle with Mark Tate. In lane number 3, we'll see the Tide with Nate Brown. Lane number 4 will be Miss Sprint with Jerry Hopp, the U-19. This is the hometown boat. In lane 5, it'll be Kauai Aloha with Mike Jones at the wheel.
Miss Budweiser in lane number 1, leading 5 boats down. The pace boat is on the outside, Kauai Aloha. And there's the start of the race. The green flag has flown. Miss Budweiser taking the lead. Lane number 2, Winston Eagle. Here's inside the Miss Budweiser. This is not always the favorite lane for Chip Hanauer. He'd like to be a little bit further out on the course, but he does a good job holding Miss Budweiser on the buoy line. He is in the lead position right now with the Winston Eagle second. Tide boat is third.
And the pressure's certainly on Mark Tate in lane 2, the Winston Eagle. Here we see Chip Hanauer. He's a busy guy. His right foot controlling 3,000 horsepower. His left foot on a pedal that controls a couple of canard fins just forward of the cockpit alongside both sponsons to trim it out down the straightaway, using the aerodynamics to help the performance of the boat.
It looks like as he comes into the turn, he's not having to use the canards just yet. The water's not roughed up. Tide now in second place. Winston Eagle has dropped back to third, still in the lead position. It is the Miss Budweiser with Chip Hanauer. Those are the top 3 boats as they come around, completing lap number 1.
And with the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes winning Heat 1A, the pressure is on the Winston team to also have a good showing here in 1B. But the Winston's starting to lag back now as the lead for second place by this boat, the Tide, has increased.
If you look at the rooster tails off of these boats, you'll see good ones and bad ones. This is a bad one off of the Winston Eagle boat. A little bit of problem there. That's an indication how the rooster tail is. This one has become very erratic, and it's dropped down a bit. Back in fourth place, it's the Kauai Aloha. Mike Jones driving that boat. There again is the Winston Eagle, and you can see the rooster tail steadied out just a little bit, but he's still back in position. Miss Sprint in 5th place is Jerry Hopp. Here's the inside shot from the Miss Budweiser, the lead boat.
And the lead boat, Miss Budweiser, lap number 1, 161.641. That's flying.
Very good speeds for the Miss Budweiser, and she's riding pretty steady on the water. But I noticed, Steve, she's got the canard wings in operation now, trying to hold that nose down.
Absolutely, and what a disappointment this heat is for Mark Tate and the Winston Eagle. After qualifying number 2 at 166 miles an hour, spirits were fairly high. But right now they got to be wondering, the tide boat is stronger than they are, the Bud boat is stronger than they are, almost everybody in this heat is stronger than they are.
And you'd alluded to the fact earlier that the tide boat had problems in San Diego. No problems for that boat here today so far. No problems either for the Miss Budweiser. Chip Hanauer very confident out in the lead of this race.
And you know, you would think on a huge 2.5-mile course like this with very broad corners that you'd scrub up a lot of speed. Normally your records come on a course with long straightaways and very quick turns where you're in them and out of them. Not here in Pearl Harbor. Maybe it's a saltwater little added bite from the prop of the dense water. They are flying here.
And it is a flying finish for the Miss Budweiser. Chip Hanauer taking the win, Heat 1B. A good job of driving. He led literally from start to finish. Had a little bit of competition at the start line, but that was the last he saw of it. He held his boat out in front. Now the competition is the tide boat for second place. He's holding on to it as they exit turn number 4, but coming up on the inside, Winston Eagle, there's your leader as he starts to slow it down on the course. But look at the battle for second place. Tide boat is just going to come up. Is he going to hold it in there? The tide boat takes it, but just by about half a boat length over the Winston Eagle. A great finish in Heat 1B. Miss Budweiser, the Tide, Winston Eagle, Kauai, Aloha, and Miss Sprint. That's the order of finish.
Chip Hanauer came back, asked how fast he went, just got word a new course record for 3 laps, 158 plus. Looked like a pretty good boat ride.
Really good boat ride, and the boat ride's only a reflection of the people. You know, they've just given me a great boat this weekend, and I just hope it stays that way through the day.
You took lane 1, which you don't always do because of the big turns. Looked like it worked out well.
Worked out good. It's always a gamble going in lane 1 because there's a lot of bad things that can happen to you in there, so you have to be a little bit careful. But we came here to be aggressive, and this was a good chance to try it. I think I might try it again.
Bernie, if the whole day goes like this, our blood pressure will be just fine, huh?
Yeah, it really will. We were looking for a 170-mile-an-hour lap in competition, and I don't know when he's going to do that, but we got to do that before we leave.
He always wants more. And I tell you what, you win the race and it's that lap record, but he still wants to go 170.
Put Bernie on one of these things and let's see how he does. All right, Mark Tate, he started slow but finished fast in the last heat. Jim Hendrick is with him.
Still a very close race for that second place position in the O'Doul's Championships. And Mark, something let you down here. What happened?
Basically, we had some type of malfunction with the controls of the motor, and it just laid down and wasn't performing the way it should have. And it's not the position the Winston Eagle wanted to be in, and hopefully we can make corrective actions and be a little stronger in the next heat here.
And I see that you've drawn the Budweiser the next heat, and you're also way out on the outside lane 4. That's not too favorable.
No, it's not. We had a real tough heat the next heat with Kellogg's and T-Plus in there and Budweiser, and they're all tucked inside of us, and we'll be the pace boat and the starter. And, you know, hopefully we can get a real good start and a good jump on them, and it might have to be a little strategy we might need to play.
Pearl Harbor is the home to the Pacific Fleet Commander-in-Chief, Admiral Robert Kelly. And yesterday, his lovely wife, Caroline, accepted an invitation from Jerry Hopp to take the rear seat in this special unlimited hydroplane. It's kind of a press boat to give dignitaries a feeling for what it's like out there. And Jerry gave her a pretty good ride, speeds well over 100 miles an hour, as the Admiral looked on, a former fighter jock, former captain of the Enterprise. I think he had as much fun watching Jerry Hopp and his wife Caroline as she did riding. And later, Jim talked to the Admiral.
We're with Admiral Bob Kelly, commander of the Pacific Fleet. And Admiral Kelly, you've been very involved in this last 4 years.
I have, and it's a pleasure to have you here again. This event is growing every year. It means an awful lot to the community to bring the military and the civilians together out here.
I understand that you're retiring very shortly, but you're going to have a replacement that also likes unlimited hydroplane racing.
I've talked to him a lot about this, and I'm pretty confident that he's going to continue in the same tradition.
Remain a fan when you become a civilian.
Oh, I plan on being a groupie.
Well, we hope you're groupies too, because we've got more action coming up. This is the last stop of the RC Cola Unlimited Hydroplane Series, the Outrigger Hotel's Hydrofest. More in a moment.
Montgomery. Now let's take an inside look at unlimited hydroplane racing with the T-Plus Performance Corner.
Hi, I'm Steve David, and welcome to the T-Plus Performance Corner. I'm relaxing right now and just kind of enjoying the day, but when I'm not doing this and in the race boat, it's a whole different story because of something called G-Force. Take a look at the video and I'll show you what I mean. As you see, we're getting thrown around in the cockpit, and even though we're strapped in a 6-point harness, strapped as tight as you can possibly be, we're still getting thrown around because of that thing called G-force. And G-force is gravity, and it's multiplied when we go into turn. You'll see my head kind of slam against the right side of that headrest. That's about 4 Gs, because I'm entering the turn right now at about 215 miles an hour. Although the pedal's wide open, it deaccelerates to something in the order of about 160 miles an hour in a little bit less than a second and a half. The load is somewhat constant unless the boat gets what's called unhooked or comes out of the water and dives back in, and then that G-force may be magnified to where you've got a load of 7 or 8 times your head weight against the headrest. Once we're down the straightaway again, as you can see, it's a lot smoother. The head and the body are straight up and down. The only thing we're feeling now is the load of the boat jumping from wave to wave. While the race itself may last from, say, 2.5 to 5 minutes, as you can see by the film, we get beat up an awful lot in that short period of time, and that's why it's nice to be able to sit down afterwards and relax, gather your composure, and get ready for the next heat.
Now, speaking of the next heat, in 2A, as we look at Diamond Head, a beautiful sight here in Honolulu, it'll be in lane number 1, the Tide, lane 2, American Spirit, Oh Boy Alberto in lane 3, the Miss Sprint in lane 4, and on the outside, Kauai Aloha. As we look at the Tide coming down the back chute, Steve Evans was down in the pits earlier and caught up to a very familiar face.
Well, there's 3 words they can take off of the Tide boat, because George Woods is back. Not quite ready for the cockpit, but feeling pretty good, huh?
Oh, we're feeling great. We're not quite up to speed for being in the boat this weekend, but it's not going to be too long. We're going to be back.
Now, the doctor said your injuries were typical of a guy that fell off a 3-story building.
Yes, we when the boat came back down, when it landed and basically tried to put me right through the bottom of the cockpit. Broke my ankles and my back and a few ribs, and, you know, but, hey, we're doing great. We're going to be back. We're healthy.
So you're ready for 94? You're going to be ready for 94?
We're going to be ready for 94. We're going to be tough in 94.
Well, it's good to see George back out onto the circuit anyway, even if it's as a spectator. He'll be watching now in lane number 1. It is the Tide boat, the boat that he drives normally. Nate Brown is aboard the boat today, and he is being challenged right off the bat by the Payless American Spirit on the outside. And next to him is the Oh Boy Alberto, Mike Ekrit.
And look at Nate Brown hug those buoys as he exits turn number 2. He knows this is his last ride in the Tide boat. He wants to leave a resume for another team for 94.
I guarantee you he's got some great credentials that a lot of other teams will be looking at, and there you can see why, because he pulls away from the American Spirit to take sole possession of first place. So the Tide boat has moved into the lead. It is American Spirit in second place. Mark Evans, the driver of that boat, still back in third. The Oh Boy Alberto, Mike Ekrit. Then it's the Miss Sprint and the Kauai Aloha, Mike Jones.
The temperature today here in Honolulu over 90 degrees, the humidity over 95%. In fact, it's so hot inside those cockpits, Nate Brown was icing down his air cylinder. The oxygen that they breathe, they have cool air.
As we complete lap number 1, it's the Tide in front at an average speed 143.308. Just a couple of miles an hour slower than that. In second place, you look to the left of your screen, is Payless American Spirit, checked in at 141.1.
It looks like the Tide boat is having just a great day. There seems to be no problem at all with that boat. Nate Brown looking at the speedometer and checking out all of his gauges as he is now in the lead and in command. He wants to know what's left in that boat, whether he's got extra power. He had a challenge early on from the American Spirit. This boat, Mark Evans, who's riding still in second place. Now he knows Mark Evans may have some more power left. He may be pacing himself. So Nate Brown is going to try to keep himself in position where he can get a little bit more out of the Tide boat, so he'll finish in first place.
As they come down now to complete lap number 2, there is a definite lead by the Tide by about 8 boat lengths over the second place Payless American Spirit. And our third place boat at the time is Oh Boy Alberto with Mike Ekrit.
Jim, could you ask for better water than this, better conditions?
It's one of the better times we've seen in the 4 years we've been here, Steve. And, of course, you know, as you said earlier, it's saltwater, more buoyant, bigger bite for the props. We'll get better speeds, and the turns, they're excellent here.
Well, whatever, it's going to the advantage of the Tide at this moment, because Tide is in the lead and having no problem at all and no challenge. The Payless American Spirit tried to move up early on in the race. There's third place, the Oh Boy Alberto. Now, they had a little bit of problem earlier in the day, so perhaps he's a little bit leery of how much power he can put to that engine at this point. He just wants to get his points and try to qualify for the final. Miss Sprint holding in the fourth place, but the boat that has not been challenged since the start of the race on the midway point of the backstretch in lap number 1, the Tide boat coming out of the turn, and as he comes out, looks like he had a problem. It looked like he loaded up just a little bit coming out of the turn. The Tide boat trying to get it across. Meanwhile, the Payless American Spirit, Mark Evans is trying to close him down on the back. He's shutting down. The Tide boat is losing power on the front straight. There's the Payless American Spirit. Takes him as they approach the line. He takes the win. Now the question is, can the Tide get across before Oh Boy Alberto? No, he cannot. Oh Boy Alberto takes it. Tide takes third place. What a finish. Misprint coming in fourth. The Kauai Aloha did not start the race. Let's go to the pits for some words from the winner.
The Payless American Spirit just coming out of the water behind us. The driver, Mark Evans, you had to be about as surprised as anybody.
I was. All of a sudden, I was just going to run with the tide and be casual today, and all of a sudden, when I saw him going down, my crew guy just started screaming at me to get going. Mark Addis was on the phone saying, you better get on it, and we went right by, and I'm just really happy for everybody. It must have been the food down at Chili's that got us going or something, but we're doing really good today.
Well, the Winston Eagle is getting ready to go back out on the course. We'll find out if that team has cured their problems. Meanwhile, Steve Evans has traipsed down to the pits for a look at another problem-plagued team. He's with Nate Brown.
What a heartbreaker. That appeared to be a sure thing.
Boy, tell me about it. I mean, I'm really upset. But, hey, you know, those things happen. You know, the boat was handling great and everything else, and I said on the radio, I'm going to leg it down the last stretch because I was backed off, you know, and as soon as I did that, dang, if a dang thing didn't just go...
You could hear the shaft. I guess it was a shaft.
Oh, yeah, what a terrible feeling, you know. Up and down the pits here, we all have our mimic of a prop shaft going, you know, and the best one, though, is Harvey. He does it really good. It's...
But can you fix it?
We're going to try. You know, we're always going to try to fix anything that's broken, you know, so who knows?
Okay, hope to see you the next team.
Thanks a lot.
Well, with that vivid description of what happens when a drive shaft lets go, we'll let go here for just a few moments from Honolulu, Hawaii, but we'll be back with Heat 2B. Don't you go.
Pavilions, but this weekend, there's a true festival atmosphere. Traditional native dances, rides for the kids. It's going on everywhere you look. A wonderful time. And right now, though, all eyes will be on the water. Heat 2B.
Budweiser, lane 1. Kellogg's, lane 2. T-Plus, lane 3. Winston Eagle on the outside. So, the Kellogg's and Winston now go head-to-head in that battle for second place in the O'Duals Championships.
But it is the two boats in the center of the field, lanes 2 and 3, that are battling it out. The Kellogg's Frosted Flakes and the Miss T-Plus. And Kellogg's Frosted Flakes in lane number 2 is trying to take the lead over both the Miss Budweiser and the Miss T-Plus. Inside the T-Plus, you can see off to the left the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes in the lead. They come down to the back stretch. It is a three-boat race. They are side by side.
Mike Hansen trying to make it 2 heat victories in a row, continuing to pile up points. I think he has the tiger in the tank today in that Kellogg's boat, Jim.
The Kellogg's boat is running good, Steve, but look at the T-Plus. He's also running well. You've got him 1, 2, 3. Budweiser in lane 1. On his hip in lane 2 is the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. And the T-Plus on the outside. Watch him pop right out of the picture. We've got a battle.
It's an amazing story because Chip Hanauer has said all year long that he has been threatened by the other boats. He said he has good competition out there, although he has dominated. Well, for the first time, he really does have some competition. Miss Budweiser has dominated this field, but wait a minute, he's going down. Miss Budweiser has gone dead in the water. She's trying to get off right now. Chip Hanauer, as we look at the onboard camera, water coming up over the cockpit indicates the boat is going dead in the water. So your new leader from Madison, Indiana, Mike Hansen, in the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. What a break. Chip Hanauer dead in the water in the Miss Budweiser.
This is a bad break for Hanauer and the Winston Eagle boat. Mark Tate was trailing the field, hoping at least that the winning points wouldn't go to that Kellogg's boat. It appears now that they might.
Well, he's still got competition on the outside. The Miss T-Plus is trying to close them down. That's Steve David of Fort Lauderdale, Florida in the T-Plus. But here's the boat he's trying to catch. That is the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes out of Madison, Indiana. There's the checkered flag. Mike Hansen takes his second win of the day. Steve David in second place in the T-Plus, still very much in the hunt. Winston Eagle manages to finish, and here's the way they complete. First is Kellogg, second Miss T-Plus, Winston Eagle third. Miss Budweiser did not finish.
We're down here with Captain James Taylor. Jim, this has been a good event for the United States Navy.
It's been a great event for the United States Navy. This event, not only does it give us about $100,000, sometimes as much as $175,000 to augment our morale, welfare, and recreation fund, but even more important than that is a sense of unity we get with the Oahu Ohana. It makes one community, one group of Americans all working together.
The reason for the Budweiser DNF, the hot section failed in the engine. A brand new Lycoming turbine is lowered in as we go to Steve Montgomery. Steve?
The winning team in Heat 2B, the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, very busy right now. There is damage to the boat. The good news is it's fairly superficial. You can see the entire team here, the crew chief Charlie Grooms, the driver Mike Hansen, grinding on the propeller. And what happened up underneath the boat is some of what they call the false bottom peeled away. And as it came back, it took a little bit of a chunk out of this propeller. So there is damage to the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, but it's superficial. Shouldn't keep them out of their next heat.
The Winston Eagle crew checking over the bearing housing on the back of the prop shaft as we continue with racing from Honolulu in just a moment.
Born of unlimited powerboat racing, lost another pioneer this past summer. In addition to Lee Shaneth, they lost Shirley Mendelson McDonald, the owner of the Notre Dame racing teams. He followed in the footsteps of her famous father, Herb Mendelson, and continued in the sport with her husband, Dr. McDonald. Shirley, we're going to miss you.
Heat 3A is in the water. The Payless American Spirit in lane 1. In lane 2, the Kellogg's boat. Lane 3 finds T+, the Winston Eagle on the outside in lane 4, and the far outside, Miss Brent and Jerry Hoff.
There's the green flag, and we're off and racing in Honolulu, Hawaii. Those of you just joining us, this is Heat 3A. Right now, it's the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. Now, Mike Hansen has had a terrific day out here. He won in San Diego. As you look out the cockpit of the Winston Eagle, off to the left, you can see the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes rooster tail. There's your lead boat. Mike Hansen of Madison, Indiana, doing a great job. He's getting challenged on the outside. The Miss T+ is trying to come up on him. These two boats have been competing neck and neck all day long.
And what a great job the crew has done for Mike Hansen. The Kellogg's boat showing no effect of the minor damage that was inflicted on it in the earlier heat. It is flying all 6,000 pounds of this boat, looking as good as it has all year.
And if it maintains that position, Steve, I can see right now the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes team will take the lead in the O'Doul High Point Championship for second place over the Winston Eagle, who's having his problems today, as we look out the cockpit of the T+ with Steve David driving.
Steve David still looking to try to move up on that lead boat if he possibly can. He's got a lot of power left in there. There you see the field as it is spread out as they go into the turn. No problem at all for the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. Winston Eagle bouncing around. You can see how that pressure. Look at the hook that holds his helmet in position as he goes through the turns. That's Mark Tate, who's inside of that helmet, and he is inside of that boat, the Winston Eagle. There's the Payless American Spirit, driven by Mark Evans. Mark holding the boat in there. He's had a pretty good run all day, but right now is riding in fourth. The Winston Eagle, incidentally, apparently showing no problems at this point. No problems either for the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. As a matter of fact, no problems since the last race. This boat has been really coming on strong. There you saw the checkered flag for the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. Mike Hansen with another win on the day. He is really racking up the points. Miss T+ was second, Winston Eagle third, fourth was American Spirit, and Miss Sprint did not finish. Mike Hansen's got to start thinking about lane choice for the final.
We get lane choice, so obviously we'll be in one of the inside lanes, and Winston's going to have third or fourth pick, so they'll be on the outside, obviously. So it ought to give us an advantage. If we can get through that first turn clean, we can sew up the second place points and possibly win this thing.
For the other side of the story now, let's go down to the Winston camp and Steve Montgomery.
As you can imagine, guys, this is not a happy team. The Winston team is very competitive. They have not had a good day, and I really appreciate driver Mark Tate's willingness to talk to us. We're not used to seeing you drive around in third place, and I know if there was anywhere else you could be, you would.
Yeah, the whole team's not used, so we just we got some type of bug here today, and we can't really feel out what it is. We don't know if it's a fuel problem, a system problem, a boat problem. We've made some changes for the final here, and hopefully we'll tattoo it and be competitive in the final.
One of the pleasant surprises of our visit to Hawaii was the discovery that the gorgeous island of Kauai, severely damaged by Hurricane Iniki just 13 months ago, has rebounded to once again become a living picture postcard. Throughout this paradise, natural wonders beckon, from mysterious mountain waterfalls to the privacy of a secluded beach. And at every turn of this Pacific wonderland, luxury blends with nature to offer an unforgettable slice of native life. The Hawaiian Islands are a memory waiting to be captured, and Kauai is beckoning to all who yearn for a slice of heaven with the horizon. Our thanks to Island Helicopters of Kauai for those lovely shots. Kauai is open for business, folks, and we'll be right back with Heat 3B and some luau action.
If you've been to Honolulu, Hawaii, and specifically Pearl Harbor, you certainly know about the Arizona Memorial as we look down upon it. Steve Montgomery has a very special guest in the pits to tell us more.
Pearl Harbor is under command the year-round of Admiral Bill Retz, who puts on a heck of a party and allows us to come here. You and your people turn this into one of the great hydroplane racing facilities in the world. We just want to thank you for the hard work and the hospitality, Admiral.
Hey, it's been our pleasure to have you here. It's been a great event, a super thing, and a win-win thing for everybody, I think. This beautiful national treasure of Pearl Harbor is something that we want to share with people. Thank you for coming.
We're down to the last elimination heat of the day, Heat 3B. The field is Oh Boy Alberto, the Tide, Miss Budweiser, Kauai Aloha. We're aboard the Miss Budweiser now with Chip Hanauer. Earlier, Steve Evans talked with Chip about a unique opportunity.
With their turbine power and enclosed cockpits, unlimited drivers are a lot like fighter pilots. They just never get to take off. Well, not intentionally anyway. But Chip Hanauer, recently you took off big time with the Blue Angels.
I did. Dream come true, and I think it is for a lot of people.
Sure.
And it's almost indescribable. I've driven a lot of performance vehicles in my life, but that F-18 goes beyond mechanical. It feels almost spiritual. I mean, what it does just isn't mechanical.
Tell me about the carrier brake.
The carrier brake is basically where he makes a bank turn to one direction or the other, and you pull so many G's that they call it graying out. You don't go unconscious, but you get almost unconscious, and your vision just goes down into a small, as you described earlier, like looking through a toilet paper tube.
Would you do it again?
Oh, I do it again in a minute. You just have to know that you're not going to feel very good. It's one of those things. It's the best and the worst of days.
And I'm sure that experience rates right up with this one, as Chip Hanauer is the winner in Heat 3B, which is going to give him points to get him into the final heat out here today. And we have the final results with Miss Budweiser first, then the Tide, Oh Boy Alberto, and Kauai Aloha. Jim Hendrick is with the Miss Bud owner.
As we close out the RC Cola Hydroplane Series 93, it marks the 14th time that this man, Bernie Little, and his team, the Budweiser team, has won the World Championship. Is there any more favorite than the other? Or are they all equally as thrilling, Bernie?
Well, certainly they are. You know, when you talk about which one's thrilling, when you win the Gold Cup, you've really come down to doing something great. But every year that goes by, it gets better. It gets more competition and better speeds. We set a world record here on this course at qualifying at 169 plus. We've had a great pleasure working with ESPN and everybody involved with them. They do an outstanding job for us in racing, and we just want to go on record with that. It's been a great year, Jim.
3 boats that haven't qualified for the final will get a last chance to the Oh Boy Alberto, Miss Sprint, and the Kauai Aloha.
The drivers of 2 of the boats in this last chance heat, Jerry Hopp and Mike Jones, joined a group who visited a luau at Paradise Cove, where they were entertained by native performers under the palm trees, enjoyed a breathtaking sunset, thrilled to the classic beauty of the hula dance, and sampled some superb island cooking. Soon after, they were taken on a whirlwind tour of the Pacific Islands, where they experienced a variety of cultural traditions, both graceful and exotic. Speaking of graceful, to cap off the evening, Jerry Hopp performed the Hydro Hula.
You going to be okay to drive tomorrow?
I don't know. I'm going to have to calm down quite a bit. I just had the toughest 3 laps I've ever gotten.
Well, he probably wishes he had 3 laps in this last chance heat because he was unable to even make the start in this one. Mike Ekrit in the Oh Boy Alberto was the winner. That boat will now advance to the final today, and we'll be having that race coming up momentarily. And in that race, it will be a battle for second place points for the season between the Winston Eagle and Mark Tate, Mike Hansen, and the Frosted Flakes. We'll see who wins in a moment. Back in Honolulu, Hawaii, specifically Pearl Harbor, we are ready for championship racing. This is the final race of the day.
And the final race of the RC Cola Hydroplane Series 93. Steve David ends up in lane number 1 in the T+. Kellogg's, you had first choice, selected lane number 2. The Tide, Nate Brown in lane 3. In lane 4, the Miss Budweiser, unfamiliar territory for Chip Hanauer. In lane 5, Winston Eagle on the outside with Mark Tate driving. The pace boat in lane 6 will be the Payless American Spirit, Mark Evans the chauffeur, and trailing the field in the trailer spot, Mike Egret and Oh Boy Alberto. We're looking inside the cockpit of the Winston Eagle, Mark Tate the driver. Earlier today, Steve Evans visited the troubled Winston Eagle camp.
You know, Friday I stopped by the Winston Eagle pits, and everybody was smiling. They'd run 166 miles an hour. They were top time. Later, that got knocked down by Miss Budweiser. But they were happy enough to offer me an RC Cola and a big box of chicken. I couldn't get a potato chip now. Today alone, they've had 5 turbines in this boat. And the computer says the motors are running just great, but the boat is slow. And Jim Lucero says, I don't know what's wrong with it. I'm almost down to getting the dartboard out. One thing they have done, though, is change a lot on the boat itself. They think maybe it's just stuck in the water. So sponson changes, wing changes, you name it, they've done it to this boat. The bad news is they start on the outside. That has not been a good position for this hull all this year. So good luck, guys.
The Winston Eagle is not the only boat starting on the outside. Lane number 4 is the Miss Budweiser. Chip Hanauer, he's not used to being that far out either. There's the green flag, and we're off and running. Watch the T-plus on the inside. There goes Winston Eagle and the Miss Budweiser trying to break the pack. But it's Steve David in the T-plus. As you look at those buoys fly by, he has taken over the lead. The other boats way far to the outside. Miss Budweiser trying to close down and try to take second place. He's got it for the moment, but he's got to keep an eye on the inside boats.
It's the whole traffic jam coming off of corner number 2 down the back chute with Pearl City in the background, and the lead boat, as we look inside the cockpit, is the T-plus. Remember, this is a full 5-lap final. The preliminaries were only 3 laps.
Steve David told me the T-plus boat is at its best, at its fastest, when you let it have its head. And look at this. He is right on the edge with that thing. He's having some fun.
I used to announce races where Steve David was driving in the small limited hydroplanes, and he did the same thing. He'd hang it right out on the ragged edge. He is leading. Miss Budweiser now in second place trying to catch him. Winston Eagle back in third place. Remember that points battle with the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. Kellogg's right now is behind him back in fourth.
And here we see Chip Hanauer being buffeted around in that boat. And as you said, Jim, he's not used to being that far outside in all that kind of rough water.
Anytime you're back in 3rd, 4th, or 5th place after you go through the first turn, you're going to be in sloppy water. Right now, Chip Hanauer in the Budweiser has his work cut out for him trying to catch the T-plus.
Back in 5th place, it's American Spirit, the Payless American Spirit, with Mark Evans on board. Back in 6th place, Nate Brown in the Tide. They may be just waiting to see if any of the lead boats go down. Now, here's the T-plus. He's coming down hard and fast. You can see how loose he is in the water. He loves to have that boat fly high. Good speed. He holds it up. He's got himself positioned right where he wants to be to take the challenge of the Miss Budweiser.
And no one has to tell Hanauer he must make his move right now. If he's got any more horsepower, he's got to use it. If he can drive braver, well, he's got to do that. And Jim, Steve David in the T-plus boat is maybe on a record pace right now.
160.4, Steve, in lap number 1. He's going so fast. You look at that rooster tail ahead of him. He's about to lap the Oberto, which is the 7th place boat here on the course.
Steve David is having a great day, and he's just holding on there. Now the battle is for the 2nd place points over the season between the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes and the boat that now leads him, the Winston Eagle. Let's watch these two for a moment as they battle it out. Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, strong all day, is coming on, and he passes them. Now remember, he's got the points lead by about 21 points, so all he has to do is hold on. Whichever of these two boats finishes first ahead of the other one, that's going to be the 2nd place in the season points for that boat. So it's really a battle that both of them want to win. Mike Hansen has got command of it at the moment, but don't ever count out the Winston Eagle and Mark Tate. That boat has plenty of power to come up on the inside. The only thing I got to tell you is Kellogg's Frosted Flakes has had one of the best days of racing it has ever experienced. It's got a couple of wins under its belt, and of course, don't forget, that was the boat that won in San Diego. Still in 2nd place. Remember, we told you, Chip Hanauer not used to coming in from the 4th lane. He has got 2nd place to this boat. Steve David, who had the position set up for him. He was in lane number 1 on the pole. He's coming around for the checkered flag. Steve David apparently ready to take this race from start to finish, and he does. Well, this is something to talk about. Steve David wins the first race of the year in Louisville, Texas. Now comes to Honolulu and wins the last race of the year. It has been a day for Steve to remember.
And he won it in a world record time for a 12.5-mile race, 154.025 miles per hour. It's official. The Kellogg's boat will go down in the books as 2nd in points. Mark Tate in the Winston Eagle will have to settle for 3rd. All in all, one of the best finals of the day, right?
Yeah, well, no, we had a heck of a battle all day long, and you got to give credit to Kellogg's. They were running great, but what they did was allow us to kind of fine-tune coming into the final. I thought we had the stuff we needed to win, and this crew, thank you, and T+ Engine Treatment gave us the funding to make it happen.
You flew the boat loose like you always do when you're going fast. I know it doesn't bother you, but for the rest of us, it's quite a show.
Yeah, I know. We have an altimeter, and I think it broke.
A fine performance by Steve David and that team, and Mike Hansen, likewise in Kellogg's, had a great day today.
In this league of racing, second place is someplace. And Mike Hansen, that's what you've got in the points. Congratulations. A great run.
Well, I appreciate it. It's an achievement. My crew, myself, City of Madison, and Kellogg's all worked extremely hard to put together this year. We ran consistent, we ran fast, and we pulled it off.
And that pass was made with authority.
Yeah, my goal was to win that heat. I wanted to win this boat race, winning the 3 earlier heats of the day, but we got left at the start. And then my goal was just to get by Winston, and once he ducked to the inside and got in the rough water, I knew I'd get the outside and just blow by him.
Here's the final standings of the O'Doul's High Point Championship Series. Now let's go down to the T+ camp as Steve Montgomery talks with Jim Harvey, the team owner.
You beat your old boss, Bernie Little, and that's not easy to do.
No, and we caught him running hard. Or we beat him running hard, and he couldn't catch us. And 4 years ago, I bought one of these, and we finished second. Yesterday, I bought another one, and we won. And this is going to go away for a year and come back next year here in Hawaii.
If you'd like to know more about unlimited hydroplane racing, write the Unlimited Racing Commission, 414 Pontius Avenue North, Suite C, Seattle, Washington, or call the number on your screen.
And so the 1993 RC Cola Hydroplane Series comes to an end, and it was quite unusual with a dual win by the T+ and very unusual circumstances, Steve.
They did it, Jim, with 2 different boats, winning in Dallas, the first race of the season here in Honolulu, the final race, and the big news is they really served notice they're going to be a contender next season.
And Steve Evans, we had a race within a race, as you called it on radio.
Yeah, we sure did, and what spice it added. Mike Hansen playing it cool. He didn't have the best start, but he hung right in there. Mark Tate trying to do the best he could with what he had, came up a little bit short. Great race.
And on behalf of Dick Griffin, Steve Evans, Steve Montgomery, I'm Jim Hendrick. Until next year, aloha.
The Outrigger Hotel's Hydrofest was sponsored by RC Cola. Race to the taste of RC Cola. Me and my RC. By T+. Beat the daily grind. Use T+, the engine treatment with DuPont Teflon. And by Budweiser Beechwood Age for that smooth taste. Proud to be your Bud. A promotional consideration has been provided by Outrigger Hotels Hawaii, Hawaii's largest and most diverse hotel chain. We've got a hotel that's just for you, no matter what kind of vacation or business trip you have in mind. And by Hawaiian Airlines. For your next trip to paradise, make it Hawaiian Airlines with daily flights from LA, San Francisco, and Seattle, plus inter-island flights. Nobody knows the island skies like Hawaiian Airlines. This event has been sanctioned by the American Powerboat Association. This has been a production of Diamond P Sports in association with ESPN.